I jumped in and checked out the early access of this co-op survival horror game, Species Unknown, and it is set in the depths of space. And as we all know, space is where no one can hear you scream. But thanks to video games and not proxy chat, playing on Discord, we all screamed. And we lolled as well. I played with a little crew here with Reese, Narcotex, and Eva Ray. Thank you to the three of them for coming along for some shenanigans in space. But yeah, I was really keen to play a PC co-op survival game. Peter, you play a lot of these, or have played a lot of these in the past. And it was a lot of fun. To explain it, you basically start out on that huge mothership that you saw there, and you team up with your crew, you select a mission, and then you head off to investigate a vessel whose crew have all met an unfortunate end. And then regardless of how or which mission you do select, you'll go to that same ship every time, and then you'll have to go through the same sort of first steps of docking on the ship, running on board, and then restarting the power on the main deck, on the bridge, sorry. And then once you do that, you'll identify your objective on a map, and then you'll also investigate, or the most important thing is you investigate the victims that are scattered throughout the ship, and you've got to identify the signs or how they've all died, and that will give you clues as to the big bad that is running amok on the ship. So this has got some Phasmophobia vibes, which is you'll get a random creature or monster on your ship of varying strength, powers, and abilities, and you will need to pretty early on identify what that is. Species unknown. Oh, yeah, there we go.
I get it.
And this is where we first found out we had guns, so we had a Mexican standoff in the ship. But beyond that, once the teamwork kicked in, the best thing about these style of games is that initial couple of hours, that joy of kind of discovering and exploring and working out how the game works with a team running around with you. And this game totally just fits that bill, particularly because of the setting. It is incredibly cinematic, and it is really moody. It draws heaps of inspiration from the Alien films, obviously. Very Ridley-esque, if I can use that term that I just made up.
You can't.
Oh, okay. But it feels very much like you're stumbling onto one of the ships from the Alien series. One of the nicest parts of that vibe is there's a swelling orchestral score through a lot of it, which feels very at odds with traditional sci-fi, but anyone who's watched the Alien films will know that's kind of that sort of almost eerie, but like major key strings. It's like, this feels wrong in this setting, but it's very unsettling. So yeah, the mood is great. The lighting and the sort of the grandeur of it when you start out, it has some real cool, like, I'm starting a sci-fi epic. That very quickly gets replaced for what you're seeing here, which is this claustrophobic, very dark, narrow corridors that you'll be running around early on to get everything up and running again. And you aren't completely powerless. You saw we had guns at the top. There was actually a little more focus on weaponry than I expected in this game. I thought it would be more survival, but we were all geared up pretty quickly with guns and weapons. But you will need to use the right weapon at the right time to do any damage, because outside of that, your guns and your weapons are really just a deterrent for the creature, to just make them go away. So they'll stalk you around the ship. They'll pop in and out of the vents, and you'll need to find out, as you can see here on the screen, the best way to actually do damage or kill that creature if you want to kill it.
What are the creatures like?
I don't really want to spoil too much. Okay, what I will say...
That makes me more excited.
It's cool. What I will say is I think the first mission is always the same. They kind of blow their load pretty early on, because the first one is a very spooky, big, stompy thing in the wall. It's in the freaking walls, man. Yeah. And it's great. It's in all the trailers, and it's fantastic. But beyond that, they're quite interesting. They don't just go bigger and scarier and more tentacles or whatever. I'll give one more example. There's a floating robot orb that'll drill your brain out if you're not with anyone else. So running around, we quickly discovered that we all had to stay together. Otherwise, if we
learned
got
that friendship is magic.
That's it.
Yeah.
And Narcotex didn't, and got caught around a corner we all came around the corner, and he was there just having his brain drilled out as he dropped to the floor.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So he
it's
died.
like getting a migraine.
He died, but there are plenty of respawn tubes. You're sharing your respawns together, but that coupled with the weaponry was a bit of a sort of surprise. I expected it to be a little more spookies and survivals, but you feel a little more confident running around than I expected. The other thing that's interesting about this, Reese lost his head very early on with the squid one, but the squid one's actually just more curious than dangerous, we discovered. That was one of its traits.
Oh, okay.
It's just curious, and it just wants to get to know you. And
it doesn't want to
taste
taste
like? Your head, yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to spoil the monsters, but they do at least keep a couple of tricks up their sleeve as well. Some of them have sort of an evolving. Well, they have like an evolving state where you think that's all it can do, and later
sleeves.
Later on,
Sleeves monster.
there are some interesting things that caught us out. Not so much scary, just surprised us.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that's cool. That evolved or it did something interesting.
There's typically with a game like this, like an individual trait that changes the game about the monsters.
Yeah, right.
That changes how the game is played in a significant way. Like it's called Dark Hours or something like
Yeah,
that. You're breaking
yeah.
into like
It
trying to
goes while you're doing
rob
a prison
rob
heist.
buildings.
Oh, sorry,
So,
a
you're
jewelry
robbing
heist.
just different buildings. Yeah, but like some of them are attracted to noise.
Yep.
And you're including your proximity chat, so your communication changes entirely, and the way that you move around the map changes entirely, and so that's a really dynamic thing. They lose their point of interest reasonably quickly after you play a few rounds.
And you
with the
work
same
out
thing,
what that.
once you worked it out.
Yeah.
But all the discovery is the beauty of a game like this.
Totally.
Is obviously don't be alone is kind of a factor like that.
Another
but
one
is
is- another one
Squid Guy
is-
and the thing in the wall effectively the same, or are they
Squid Guy
different enough?
was he will run away if scared.
It's kind of cute.
It was. We all decided
Yeah.
we're like, this one's kind of adorable. But that robot one I mentioned before, it's you've got to be together. We read up on the other creatures because you can in the
Dossier.
computer in the dossier. One of them is you got to look at it to not let it attack you. Oh no, sorry, don't look at it. Yeah, we didn't get to that one, but always
Doctor Who
or never
Angels.
look at it.
Yeah.
So there's some cool variables in there, but again, once you work that out, I think the fear drops away and turns into a puzzler. And yeah, it stopped being scary pretty quickly. But that's not to say it wasn't enjoyable. It just became a bit more about discovery and working out a lot of the puzzles that we were doing and seeing sort of the limitations there. One thing I do have to point out that we were quite disappointed with was that one of the biggest factors that contributes to, I think, the fun of these games is proxy chat, and it does not exist in that. In this game. So proxy chat's where you use your microphone, obviously, and you run around, and if someone runs away, their voice gets quieter, and it uses that. It's in most of these kind of games because it adds to the idea of staying as a team.
Yep.
Communication is key.
Staying
Straight out
together.
of the gate, this one, you can just talk to everyone everywhere. Maybe that's look, it kind of works in law, you're on radios, whatever.
common
It
link.
makes sense. But couple that with the fact that there's a button you can press to show you where everyone is standing with a little outline, and you kind of lose any of the need for coordination outside of a couple of the objectives. And I was a bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, like one of the interesting dynamics in Phasmophobia, which is probably still the most effective type of version of this type of game, is someone back at the truck with all of their equipment and relaying information across a radio to someone in the building, because it's like, oh, I can see the monster, I can see the haunt factor is going up.
Yeah.
And they're the only one that can relay that information that you then have to react to.
Look, there's still
and you're
elements of-
losing a field agent who's doing the objectives.
There was
like-
still like there's puzzles to move through the ship, and in this one or one of the ones earlier, someone had to stay at a terminal and read out which valves we had to turn. So there's a little bit of that Phasmophobia or Among Us teamwork, but it had a little less of the how do we organize this with the limitations that we're running through? It just turned into, oh, you stay here and we'll run around and do the only 3 or so puzzles on this one ship. The plus side I will say is that there's some cool creativity in the way you do these missions. Some of them are just retrieving data. This one, in fact, is self-destruct the ship, so you've got to get in there and overload the engines. And we're all talking, but Josh, if you give me just a tiny bit of volume while I'm talking through here, it was just a great moment cinematically as we're all just rushing off. The alarms are all blaring, we're all screaming. So production value is there for some of these great moments. And then, Josh, if you'd skip just like 30 seconds to 2 minutes forward of us getting on the little shuttle to leave. Back. Yeah. So we all get on. Crank the volume here. This is fantastic. It's the drama and the mood in this.
Sit down! Let's get out of here! Ooh, forced undocking.
And again, doing this for the first time was fantastic. And then we thought, are we going to watch it blow up?
Oh, are we gonna watch it blow up?
No.
We'll evacuate in danger distance.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're clear.
It's gonna blow.
Turn around. Yes. Let's see it.
Flip it off.
Punch it.
Oh, because there's no sound in space.
I thought it'd be
That's right,
bigger.
no
Oh!
That feels like it's gonna hit us.
So like really cool way to finish a mission. And like
Yeah.
everything in this game, the first time you do it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Then it's like one of the 4 missions you can do. So I can see things like that running, getting a little
repetitive.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because the main most interesting mode in this game seems to be the idea of capturing those species or those monsters and taking them back with you and studying them. That is behind, like, you've got to earn 25,000 space bucks or whatever they're called, the currency, and there is a real slow burn to get to that. Now, I understand that that's there for extending your playtime with the game and having fun with it, but we ran about 3 or 4 missions, and I think Nitrotex was like, I think I've seen everything this game has to offer, and there was a couple of creatures that we hadn't, but they're randomized, so if we run back into a
There's
level
no
and
guarantee
go,
you'll see
we're
anything.
seeing the same one again, that could be a little deflating. So, look, it's in early access. I still think they've done a great job with where the game is at currently, and again, it wasn't hard to convince ourselves to do a couple more runs and to just hopefully run into different creatures and have more of those first-time experiences. I'd love to see them expand the roster of the ships that you're heading to, because we just destroyed that ship and then we started another mission and we're like, it's back! We jumped straight on the back same spaceship again.
It's basically the Toyota Corolla of spaceships.
Exactly,
So,
it's unbreakable out there. But I love the setting, and I love that I finally got one of these games under my belt. I've always been watching you play a whole heap of these co-op survival ones.
They're
and
fun.
They're a heap of fun.
But I think I say nearly every time, it's like, you have 1, maybe 2 evenings with a game
Yep.
like that, and
Yep.
then you move on. And if the price point is right, it's worth it every time.
This
If
one's
it's a
$13
$15-20 game.
$13 currently in
Oh my
early
God.
access.
Perfectly priced.
So good.
Wow.
And again, I shouldn't make a big deal of this, but I do love it when they have the one that you buy for $30 and everyone can join for free, because it's just an easier way. It was a little tricky to do. And again, massive props to Reese, Nitrotex, and Everay for joining, but it was like, we all free, all go and buy this game, and I was like, God, I hope it's good. I hope we're not going to have a terrible time. So none of that was forced, but it was a really fun game. So yeah, that is Species Unknown. And